Welcome back to the channel, US Rare Coins News, Top 1 where American coins reveal stories far bigger than their face value. Today's video is all about one of the most iconic and widely collected modern US coins ever made, the United States Kennedy half dollar dated 1776 to 1976. This special coin is instantly recognizable, deeply patriotic, and tied directly to one of the most important celebrations in American history. Many people have seen it, many have spent it, and many still have one tucked away without realizing its true significance. Stay with me until the very end, because the auction value might surprise you. The 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar was created to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the United States of America. This historic milestone, known as the Bicentennial, marked 2 centuries since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. To honor this once-in-a-lifetime event, the U.S. Mint redesigned several circulating coins, including the quarter, half dollar, and dollar. Instead of a single date, these coins proudly display the dual date 1776 to 1976, symbolizing America's journey from independence to a global nation. The Kennedy half dollar was already a powerful symbol before the bicentennial redesign. First introduced in 1964 following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, the coin quickly became one of the most beloved designs in U.S. coinage. It represented hope, leadership, and national unity. By the time the bicentennial celebration arrived, the Kennedy half dollar was the perfect canvas to honor both American history and one of its most respected presidents. On the front of the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar, you'll see the familiar left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy. His calm yet determined expression reflects the optimism of the early 1960s and continues to resonate decades later. The word liberty curves along the top, while In God We Trust appears near Kennedy's neck. Instead of a standard year, the dual date proudly marks the bicentennial, making this coin instantly stand out from regular issues. Turn the coin over, and the design becomes even more patriotic. The traditional presidential seal was replaced with a striking image of Independence Hall in Philadelphia. This historic building is where the Declaration of Independence was debated and adopted, and where the Constitution was later written. The detailed depiction of Independence Hall on the half dollar connects the coin directly to the birth of the nation, making it one of the most meaningful reverse designs ever used on U.S. currency. The bicentennial Kennedy half dollar was produced in large numbers, but not all versions are the same. Coins were struck at multiple mints, and they were made in different compositions. Some were intended for everyday circulation, while others were specially produced for collectors. This variety is one of the reasons collectors remain so interested in this coin today. Condition plays a major role in determining value. Many bicentennial half dollars were heavily circulated or stored improperly, leading to scratches, dull surfaces, and worn details. Others were saved as souvenirs of the bicentennial celebration and remain in excellent condition. Coins with sharp details, clean fields, and strong original luster are far more desirable than average examples. Collector versions were also produced with higher quality strikes and finishes. These coins often display better detail and a more attractive appearance than circulation strikes. Because they were saved more carefully, they are more likely to survive in high condition, which increases their appeal in the collector market. Another reason this coin continues to attract attention is nostalgia. For many Americans, the bicentennial was a memorable national celebration filled with parades, fireworks, and pride. Coins from this era serve as tangible reminders of that moment in time. As generations pass, demand for well-preserved bicentennial coins continues to grow. Despite being common at first glance, truly exceptional examples of the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar are much scarcer than people realize. Large coins like half dollars are prone to contact marks, and finding one with smooth surfaces and minimal flaws can be challenging. Collectors are especially interested in coins that appear almost exactly as they did when they left the mint. The Kennedy half dollar also holds a special place in American numismatics because it represents the end of an era. Over time, half dollars gradually disappeared from everyday use. As a result, the bicentennial issue became one of the last half dollars that many Americans remember seeing regularly in circulation. Now let's get to the moment you've been waiting for, the value. While most circulated 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollars are worth only their face value, high-grade uncirculated examples and premium collector strikes tell a very different story. At major auctions, top-condition Bicentennial Kennedy half dollars with exceptional preservation and strong eye appeal have sold for several $1,000s. In rare cases, coins with outstanding quality and professional grading have reached auction prices exceeding $10,000. Top 2, today, we're focusing on a coin that many people have seen, many have saved, and very few truly understand, the United States Kennedy half dollar from 1967. This coin comes from a powerful moment in American history, and while it may look familiar, its background, composition, and collector appeal make it far more interesting than most people realize. Stay with me until the very end, because the auction value of this coin might surprise you. The Kennedy half dollar was first introduced in 1964, only months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The nation was still grieving, and the decision to place Kennedy's portrait on the half dollar was both emotional and symbolic. It represented unity, remembrance, and respect for a leader whose life was cut short. The public response was overwhelming, and people immediately began saving these coins rather than spending them. By the time 1967 arrived, the United States was dealing with a nationwide coin shortage. Rising silver prices had caused widespread hoarding, and everyday commerce was being disrupted. To solve this problem, the U.S. Mint made several unusual decisions. One of the most important was suspending mint marks on coins between 1965 and 1967. This means the 1967 Kennedy half dollar has no mint mark at all, regardless of where it was produced. Another major change involved silver content. While the original 1964 Kennedy half dollar was made of 90% silver, later versions were adjusted to conserve precious metal. The 1967 Kennedy half dollar contains 40% silver, giving it intrinsic metal value while still allowing it to circulate. This silver content alone makes the coin attractive to both collectors and investors. The design of the 1967 Kennedy half dollar is both bold and timeless. On the front, you'll see a strong left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy. His expression is calm, focused, and confident, capturing the optimism he represented to millions of Americans. Surrounding the portrait are the word liberty and the phrase "In God We Trust," along with the date 1967. The absence of a mint mark gives this coin a clean and distinctive appearance. The reverse side features the presidential coat of arms, including a powerful eagle with outstretched wings, a shield on its chest, and an olive branch and arrows held in its talons. This design symbolizes strength, peace, and readiness, perfectly reflecting America's identity during a tense period of global history. Above the eagle is a ring of stars representing the states, while United States of America and half dollar complete the design. Although millions of 1967 Kennedy half dollars were produced, most did not survive in perfect condition. These coins were heavily handled, stacked, transported, and stored in large quantities. As a result, many examples show scratches, dull surfaces, and contact marks. Finding one today with sharp details, smooth fields, and strong original luster is much harder than most people expect. Condition plays a critical role in collector interest. Coins that were carefully saved shortly after release, especially those kept away from circulation, are far more desirable. Because the mint did not produce official proof coins for collectors in 1967, high-quality examples stand out even more. This lack of traditional proof issues adds an extra layer of intrigue for serious collectors. Another reason the 1967 Kennedy half dollar is special is its place in U.S. monetary history. It represents the final years of silver circulating coinage in America. Just a few years later, silver would be removed entirely from most U.S. coins. This makes the 1967 half dollar part of the closing chapter of an era that collectors deeply admire. Over time, appreciation for this coin has continued to grow. What was once considered a common transitional issue is now recognized for its historical importance, silver content, and connection to a pivotal moment in American history. Collectors today actively search for the best preserved examples, knowing that truly exceptional coins are becoming scarcer every year. The 1967 Kennedy half dollar is also popular among new collectors because it combines affordability, history, and precious metal in one piece. For advanced collectors, it offers a challenge, finding a coin with minimal flaws, strong strike quality, and attractive eye appeal. That challenge is exactly what drives demand in the collector market. Now let's talk about value. While many circulated examples trade close to their silver content, high-grade 1967 Kennedy half dollars tell a very different story. At major coin auctions, exceptionally preserved examples with strong luster and high professional grades have sold for impressive sums. In top condition, some 1967 Kennedy half dollars have reached auction prices of several $1,000s, with the finest known examples achieving auction results exceeding $10,000. Top 3. Today, we're taking a close and detailed look at a coin many people overlook without a second thought, the United States of America Kennedy half dollar from 1972. At first glance, this coin may seem ordinary, especially since it doesn't contain silver like earlier Kennedy halves. But once you understand its background, varieties, and collector demand, you'll realize why certain 1972 Kennedy half dollars can be far more valuable than most people expect. Stay with me until the very end, because the auction value might completely change how you view this coin. The Kennedy half dollar was introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. The coin was instantly embraced by the public and quickly became one of the most collected U.S. coins in modern history. By the early 1970s, however, the coin had entered a new phase. Rising silver prices had already forced the U.S. Mint to remove precious metal from most circulating coins, and by 1971, the Kennedy half dollar became fully copper-nickel clad. The year 1972 falls right into this important transition period. These coins were made strictly for circulation, and they were widely used in commerce, casinos, banks, and everyday transactions. Because of this heavy use, most 1972 Kennedy half dollars show noticeable wear today. This widespread circulation is one of the key reasons high-quality examples are much harder to find than many people assume. The obverse of the 1972 Kennedy half dollar features the familiar left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy. His expression is calm, confident, and reflective, capturing the image of leadership that made him such an influential figure in American history. The word liberty stretches across the top, while in God we trust appears near the portrait. The date 1972 sits clearly at the bottom, marking this coin as part of a new, post-silver era of U.S. coinage. On the reverse side, the coin displays the presidential seal. A bold eagle with outstretched wings dominates the design, holding an olive branch and arrows in its talons, symbolizing peace and strength. A shield rests on the eagle's chest, representing protection and unity. Above the eagle is a ring of stars symbolizing the states, while United States of America and half dollar frame the design. Even without silver, the artwork remains powerful and detailed. One of the most important things collectors look for with 1972 Kennedy half dollars is the mint mark. Coins were produced at different mints, and each mint had its own production characteristics. Strike quality, surface texture, and overall appearance can vary depending on where the coin was made. Some examples show sharper details and cleaner surfaces, while others appear weaker or more worn even when uncirculated. Condition is everything when it comes to value. Because these coins were stacked, transported, and handled in bulk, many picked up contact marks, scratches, and dull surfaces. Finding a 1972 Kennedy half dollar with smooth fields, strong luster, and minimal flaws is surprisingly difficult. Coins that were pulled from circulation early or stored carefully stand out dramatically in the collector market. Another factor that increases interest is the existence of subtle varieties and striking differences. Some 1972 Kennedy half dollars display stronger design details, clearer lettering, and better overall eye appeal. Collectors carefully inspect the hair above Kennedy's ear, the sharpness of the lettering, and the details in the eagle's feathers. Small differences can make a big impact on desirability. While proof versions of the 1972 Kennedy half dollar were made for collectors, even these can vary in quality. Proof coins are known for their mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs, but not all proofs survive in perfect condition. Proof examples with deep contrast, clean fields, and no blemishes are highly sought after and often command strong prices. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar is also important because it represents a time when half dollars were still commonly used. Today, half dollars are rarely seen in circulation, which adds a layer of nostalgia and historical significance. Coins from this period remind collectors of a time when larger denominations played a more active role in everyday life. Over the years, collector interest in post-1970 Kennedy half dollars has steadily increased. As more people enter the hobby, demand grows for high-quality examples from every year of the series. What once seemed common becomes scarce when collectors focus only on the best-preserved coins. This is exactly what has happened with the 1972 issue. Many people still assume that only silver coins are valuable, but modern collecting proves otherwise. Rarity in condition, collector demand, and historical context all play a role in determining value. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar checks all of those boxes when found in exceptional shape. Now let's get to the moment everyone has been waiting for, the value. While most circulated 1972 Kennedy half dollars are worth face value, high-grade uncirculated and proof examples tell a very different story. At major coin auctions, top-condition 1972 Kennedy half dollars with outstanding eye appeal and professional grading have sold for impressive amounts. In exceptional cases, the finest known examples have reached auction prices of several $1,000s, with select premium specimens achieving auction results exceeding $10,000. Top 4. Today's video is all about a Kennedy half dollar that many people completely overlook, the United States of America Kennedy half dollar from 1983. This coin doesn't contain silver, it doesn't look flashy, and it often gets ignored in collections. But once you understand its history, production challenges, and collector demand, you'll realize why the 1983 Kennedy half dollar is far more interesting, and potentially valuable, than most people think. Make sure you stay until the very end, because the auction value might genuinely surprise you. By 1983, the Kennedy half dollar had already been part of American coinage for nearly 2 decades. Introduced in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy, the coin had gone through major changes in metal composition and public use. Early versions were made with high silver content, but by the time the 1980s arrived, rising metal prices had completely reshaped U.S. coinage. The half dollar was now made of copper and nickel, and its role in everyday circulation had dramatically declined. What makes 1983 especially important is the economic environment of the early 1980s. The United States was dealing with inflation, budget tightening, and major cost-cutting measures across government agencies, including the U.S. Mint. As a result, minting practices during this period were very different from earlier decades. One of the most important details collectors focus on is that no official mint sets were produced for the year 1983. This single fact alone makes high-quality examples much harder to find today, because mint sets were not issued. Most 1983 Kennedy half dollars entered circulation immediately or were stored in bulk bags. Coins stored this way often suffered from heavy contact marks, scratches, and surface damage as they rubbed against one another. This means that finding a truly clean, uncirculated 1983 Kennedy half dollar with strong luster and minimal flaws is far more difficult than people expect. The obverse of the 1983 Kennedy half dollar features the familiar left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy. His expression remains calm and dignified, symbolizing leadership and vision. The word liberty arches across the top, while in God we trust appears near the portrait. The date 1983 is clearly displayed at the bottom, representing a year that quietly became important to collectors decades later. On the reverse, the coin displays the presidential coat of arms. A powerful eagle spreads its wings, holding an olive branch and arrows to represent peace and strength. A shield rests on the eagle's chest, symbolizing protection and unity. Above the eagle is a circle of stars representing the states, while United States of America and half dollar frame the design. Even though the design remained unchanged for years, collectors still value coins with sharper details and cleaner strikes. Mint marks play an important role for the 1983 Kennedy half dollar. Coins were struck at multiple mints, and each mint had slightly different striking quality. Some examples show weak details, especially in Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers, while others appear much sharper. Collectors carefully examine these areas to identify premium coins. Condition is everything with this issue. Because so many coins were mishandled early on, high-grade examples stand out dramatically. Coins with bright original luster, smooth fields, and minimal contact marks are extremely scarce. Even a small difference in surface quality can separate an average coin from a highly desirable one. Another reason collectors are drawn to the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar is its role in the decline of half-dollar circulation. By the early 1980s, half-dollars were rarely used in everyday transactions. Many younger collectors today have never received one in change. This limited circulation adds a layer of mystery and nostalgia, making coins from this era increasingly attractive. Proof versions of the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar were produced, but even these are closely examined for quality. Proof coins are known for their mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs, but not all proofs survive in perfect condition. Coins with deep contrast, clean mirrors, and no spotting are especially desirable to collectors. Over the years, the collecting community has begun to re-evaluate coins from the late 20th century. What was once dismissed as modern and common is now recognized as historically important, especially when production circumstances made high-quality coins rare. The 1983 Kennedy half-dollar fits perfectly into this category. Many people still believe that only silver coins are worth collecting, but modern numismatics tells a very different story. Scarcity in condition, low survival rates in high grades, and collector demand all drive value. The 1983 Kennedy half-dollar proves that even copper-nickel coins can become highly collectible. Collectors today actively search for the finest known examples of this coin. As more coins are graded and added to collections, the number of top-quality pieces continues to shrink. This creates competition and pushes values higher for the best-preserved examples. Now let's talk about what everyone is waiting for, the value. While most circulated 1983 Kennedy half-dollars are worth face value, high-grade uncirculated and proof examples tell a completely different story. At major coin auctions, exceptionally preserved 1983 Kennedy half-dollars with strong eye appeal and high professional grades have sold for impressive amounts. In rare cases, the finest known examples have achieved auction prices of several $1,000s, with select top-tier specimens reaching auction results of over $10,000. Top 5. Today, we're diving into a very important and often misunderstood coin, the United States of America Kennedy half-dollar from 1971. At first glance, this coin may seem ordinary, especially to people who believe only silver coins are worth collecting. But once you understand why 1971 is such a critical year, how this coin fits into U.S. monetary history, and what collectors actually look for, you'll realize why certain 1971 Kennedy half-dollars can be surprisingly valuable. Make sure you stay until the very end, because the auction value might change the way you see this coin forever. The Kennedy half-dollar was born in 1964, during a time of national mourning following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The coin quickly became a symbol of remembrance and unity, and Americans began saving them almost immediately. Early Kennedy halves were made with silver, which only increased hoarding and reduced circulation. As silver prices continued to rise throughout the 1960s, the U.S. Mint faced a serious challenge: how to keep coins in circulation without losing money on precious metal content. This brings us to 1971, a year that marked a major turning point in American coinage. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar was the very first year the coin was struck entirely without silver for circulation. It was made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, officially ending the silver era of the Kennedy half-dollar. This single change makes the 1971 issue historically significant, as it represents the beginning of a new chapter in U.S. currency. Because it was no longer made with silver, the public perception of the Kennedy half-dollar changed dramatically. People stopped hoarding them, and banks began releasing large numbers into circulation. These coins were used in casinos, vending operations, and everyday transactions, which led to heavy wear. As a result, many 1971 Kennedy half-dollars that exist today show noticeable signs of circulation. The design of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar remained powerful and dignified. On the obverse, you'll see the familiar left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy. His expression reflects confidence, calm leadership, and vision, qualities that defined his legacy. The word liberty arches boldly across the top, while in God we trust appears near the portrait. The date 1971 sits clearly at the bottom, quietly marking a historic transition year. Flip the coin over and you'll find the presidential coat of arms. A strong eagle with outstretched wings holds an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. A shield rests on the eagle's chest, representing protection and national unity. Above the eagle is a ring of stars symbolizing the states, while United States of America and half dollar complete the design. Even without silver, the artistry of the coin remained impressive. One of the most important things collectors focus on with the 1971 Kennedy half dollar is condition. Because these coins were heavily circulated, high-quality examples are far scarcer than many people realize. Coins often picked up scratches, contact marks, dull surfaces, and weak details from being stacked and transported in bulk. Finding one today with strong original luster and clean surfaces is a real challenge. Mint marks also play a role in collector interest. Coins were struck at different mints, and each had slightly different striking quality. Some examples show sharper hair detail on Kennedy's portrait, while others appear flat or weak. The eagle's feathers on the reverse are another key area collectors examine closely. Small differences in strike quality can have a major impact on desirability. Proof versions of the 1971 Kennedy half dollar were also produced for collectors. These coins were struck with special care and feature mirror-like fields and frosted design elements. However, even proof coins can vary in quality. Proofs with deep contrast, clean mirrors, and no spots or hairlines are far more valuable than average examples. Another reason the 1971 Kennedy half dollar has gained attention is its role as the foundation for all later clad Kennedy halves. Every non-silver Kennedy half dollar that followed traces its lineage back to this year. Collectors who build complete sets often place special emphasis on first-year issues, which increases long-term demand. Over time, modern coin collecting has evolved. Collectors no longer focus only on precious metal content. Today, rarity in condition, historical importance, and survival rates in high grades are what truly matter. The 1971 Kennedy half dollar fits perfectly into this category. While millions were minted, very few survive in exceptional condition. Many people still have rolls, bags, or single examples of these coins tucked away without realizing their potential. A quick glance isn't enough. You need to study the surfaces, the luster, and the sharpness of the design. What looks ordinary at first could be something special to the trained eye. The story of the 1971 Kennedy half dollar is not about silver, it's about change. It represents the moment when American coinage fully stepped into the modern era. That historical role alone makes it important, and collector demand continues to grow as high-grade examples become harder to find. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for, the value. While most circulated 1971 Kennedy half dollars are worth face value, uncirculated and proof examples in top condition tell a very different story. At major coin auctions, high-grade 1971 Kennedy half dollars with exceptional eye appeal and professional grading have sold for impressive amounts. In rare cases, the finest known examples have reached auction prices in the several $1,000s range, with select top-tier specimens achieving auction results exceeding $10,000. Top 6. Today's video is all about a Kennedy half dollar that often flies under the radar, the United States of America Kennedy half dollar from 1973. At first glance, this coin may look just like any other half dollar from the 1970s, but its background, production story, and collector appeal make it far more interesting than many people realize. Stay with me until the very end, because the auction value of this coin might surprise you more than you expect. The Kennedy half dollar was introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy following his assassination. The coin quickly became one of the most emotionally significant pieces of U.S. coinage. Early versions were hoarded by the public, especially those made with silver, which dramatically reduced circulation. As silver prices continued to rise, the U.S. Mint was forced to make changes that would permanently reshape American coins. By the time 1973 arrived, the Kennedy half dollar was firmly in the post-silver era. The coin was now struck in a copper-nickel clad composition, and it was produced mainly for circulation and collectors. However, something important was changing during this period. half dollars were slowly disappearing from everyday use. Fewer people were spending them, and banks were ordering smaller quantities, which adds an unexpected layer of interest to coins from this year. The obverse of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar features the familiar left-facing portrait of President Kennedy. His expression reflects confidence, calm leadership, and vision, qualities that made him one of the most admired presidents in American history. The word liberty stretches across the top, while In God We Trust appears near the portrait. The date 1973 sits clearly at the bottom, quietly marking a year that collectors now view with growing interest. On the reverse, the coin displays the presidential coat of arms. A bold eagle with spread wings holds an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. A shield rests on the eagle's chest, representing national unity and protection. Above the eagle is a ring of stars representing the states, while United States of America and half dollar complete the design. Even though the design remained consistent, collectors carefully study details like feather sharpness and lettering clarity to judge quality. One of the key reasons the 1973 Kennedy half dollar is intriguing is the way it was produced. Coins from this year were struck at different mints, and each mint had its own striking characteristics. Some coins show stronger details, while others appear softer or less defined. These differences matter greatly to collectors who focus on quality and eye appeal. Condition plays a massive role in determining value. Many 1973 Kennedy half dollars were stored in large bags or used in circulation, which caused scratches, contact marks, and dull surfaces. Because of this, truly high-grade examples are far scarcer than most people assume. Coins with bright original luster, clean fields, and sharp details stand out immediately to experienced collectors. Another important aspect of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar is its relationship to collector-only issues. During this era, certain coins were not widely released for circulation and were instead sold to collectors. This created differences in availability and survival rates. As a result, some versions of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar are significantly harder to find in top condition. Proof versions were also produced for collectors, and these coins are known for their mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs. However, not all proof coins are equal. Many show signs of handling, hairlines, or spotting. Proof examples with deep contrast, clean mirrors, and no imperfections are highly sought after and command strong interest in the collector market. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar also represents a transitional moment in American coin usage. By the mid-1970s, half dollars were rarely seen in daily transactions. This gradual disappearance from circulation adds nostalgia and historical importance to coins from this period. For many collectors, the 1973 half dollar feels like a reminder of a time when larger coins still had a place in everyday life. Over the years, collectors have begun to re-examine coins from the early 1970s. What were once considered common are now recognized as challenging to find in premium condition. As more collectors focus on completing high-quality sets, demand increases for the best-preserved examples of each year, including 1973. Many people assume that coins without silver content have little value, but modern numismatics proves otherwise. Rarity in condition, collector demand, and historical context all contribute to value. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar fits perfectly into this modern collecting mindset, especially when found in exceptional shape. Collectors today pay close attention to surface quality, strike strength, and overall eye appeal. Small differences that most people overlook can make a dramatic difference in desirability. That's why it's always worth taking a closer look at any 1973 Kennedy half dollar you come across. Now let's get to the moment everyone has been waiting for, the value. While most circulated 1973 Kennedy half dollars are worth face value, high-grade uncirculated and proof examples tell a very different story. At major coin auctions, top-condition 1973 Kennedy half dollars with outstanding eye appeal and professional grading have sold for impressive amounts. In exceptional cases, the finest known examples have reached auction prices of several $1,000s, with select premium specimens achieving auction results exceeding $10,000. Top 7. Today, we're diving into a modern-era coin that many people still overlook, the United States of America Kennedy half dollar from 1998. This coin may seem recent compared to classic silver issues, but don't let its age fool you. The 1998 Kennedy half-dollar carries a unique story, growing collector interest, and surprising potential that makes it well worth your attention. Make sure you stay until the very end, because the auction value of this coin might completely change the way you look at modern U.S. coins. The Kennedy half-dollar has been a powerful symbol in American coinage since its first release in 1964. Created to honor President John F. Kennedy after his assassination, the coin immediately became one of the most recognized and emotionally significant pieces in U.S. history. Over the decades, the half-dollar went through major changes, from solid silver to reduced silver, and eventually to a copper-nickel-clad composition. By the time 1998 arrived, the coin was no longer commonly used in everyday transactions, which quietly set the stage for its future collector appeal. In 1998, the Kennedy half-dollar existed in a strange space within American currency. It was still officially produced, yet rarely seen in circulation. Most people used paper money, and smaller coins like quarters dominated daily spending. As a result, many half-dollars from this period were struck primarily for collectors or stored in bags, never entering real circulation. This limited exposure plays an important role in why high-quality examples matter so much today. The obverse of the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar features the iconic portrait of President John F. Kennedy. His strong profile, dignified expression, and timeless design remain unchanged, continuing to honor his legacy decades after his presidency. The word liberty curves along the top, while In God We Trust appears beside the portrait. The date 1998 rests below, marking a year that collectors now study more carefully than ever before. Turning to the reverse, the coin displays the presidential coat of arms. The eagle stands proudly with wings spread wide, holding arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing strength and peace. A shield rests on the eagle's chest, reinforcing themes of unity and national defense. Surrounding the design are the words United States of America and half-dollar, completing a classic and powerful image that has become instantly recognizable to collectors worldwide. What truly makes the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar interesting is its condition sensitivity. Many coins from this year were never meant for heavy circulation, yet they still suffered from storage marks, bag scratches, and dull surfaces. Coins with clean fields, sharp details, and strong original luster are far scarcer than most people realize. Collectors pay close attention to these details, and even small imperfections can dramatically affect value. Another important factor is mint production quality. Some 1998 Kennedy half-dollars display stronger strikes than others, with crisp lettering and fully defined details. Others appear weaker, especially in areas like the hair, lettering, and eagle's feathers. Collectors actively seek out the best-struck examples, and competition increases significantly when a truly exceptional coin appears on the market. Proof versions of the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar were also produced specifically for collectors. These coins are known for their mirror-like backgrounds and frosted design elements. However, not all proof coins are equal. Many show hairlines, spotting, or haze from improper storage. Proof coins with deep contrast, clean mirrors, and flawless surfaces are highly prized and increasingly difficult to find. The late 1990s represent an important era in modern coin collecting. Coins from this period were often dismissed as too new to be valuable, but that perception is rapidly changing. As more collectors focus on completing high-grade modern sets, demand has grown for top-quality examples from years like 1998. What was once ignored is now being re-examined with fresh eyes. The 1998 Kennedy half-dollar also benefits from generational nostalgia. Collectors who grew up in the 1990s are now entering the hobby with serious interest and purchasing power. This shift has increased demand for coins from their childhood era, adding another layer of appeal to modern Kennedy half-dollars. Many people believe only silver coins or very old coins can be valuable, but modern numismatics tells a different story. Rarity in condition, collector demand, and population scarcity at the highest grades are what truly drive prices today. The 1998 Kennedy half-dollar fits perfectly into this modern collecting trend. Professional grading has also played a huge role in revealing the true scarcity of top-quality 1998 examples. Coins graded at the highest levels are incredibly rare, and when one appears at auction, it often sparks intense competition among collectors who need that specific coin for their set. Now let's get to the part everyone has been waiting for, the value. While most circulated 1998 Kennedy half dollars are only worth face value, high-grade uncirculated and proof examples tell a very different story. At major coin auctions, exceptional 1998 Kennedy half dollars with top-tier grading, strong strike quality, and outstanding eye appeal have sold for remarkable amounts. In rare cases, the finest known specimens have reached auction prices ranging from several $1,000s to over $15,000. So before you overlook that 1998 Kennedy half dollar, take a closer look. Check the condition, study the details, and remember that modern coins can hold extraordinary value when rarity meets demand. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1998 Kennedy half dollar, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another hidden coin story. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!